Okay, so we've added and subtracted decimals, we've multiplied decimals, and probably the trickiest one is dividing decimals because there are some different steps involved, but it is something you should have learned in 6th grade as well. So when we're dividing decimals, I know you'll like to use the ice cream cone, so I'll reference that. But just know when it's a simple division problem, okay, the first number is the number that goes inside the division house. And then the second number is what goes outside, okay? Now, the trick with dividing is, especially when there are decimals involved, which we'll see in a second, is to make sure that the number outside the division house is not a decimal. And if it's not, then I'm good to go. So we'll worry about the sign here in a minute. Remember, anytime we use multiplying and dividing, we're going to use that triangle, which we've seen over and over again already. That only works with multiplying and dividing. So if we look at this one, how many times does 2 go into 5 without going over? It goes in twice. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we subtract that from the dividend, so 5 minus 4 is 1. And then to continue on, because, in elementary you learn something about remainders, but to find the decimal answer, I'm going to add a decimal at the end, at the top and bottom, on the inside, and then a 0 next to the 5 to continue. So when I bring that 0 down, I can continue to divide. How many times does 2 go into 10 without going over? It goes in 5 times. That's exactly 10. So I end up with no remainder there, which means my final answer is 2.5. But a positive divided by negative is a negative, so it's negative 2.5. Now let's talk about one where it has a decimal outside. So I'm going to put 4.32 inside the house and then 1.2 outside. Now when I'm doing this, I need to make sure that this number outside the house is not a decimal. In order to make it not a decimal, I'm going to move it the decimal one time to the right. But what I do outside, I have to do inside. So I'm going to move one time to the right for this one. So now I have 12 and then 43.2. So I'm going to bring this decimal up above the house there. So let's divide. Can 12 go into 4 without going over? No. So I put a 0 in that place. Can 12 go into 43? How many times? Well, it goes into it 3 times because 12 times 3 is 36. And when I subtract 43 minus 36, that's 7. Then I bring down the 2. And then this is where that decimal was, so I bring it up. And then 12 goes into 72. Let's see, 5 is 66. 6 times because 12 times 6 is 72. And so my final answer is 3.6 because a positive divided by a positive is a positive. So my final answer is 3.6. We'll do some more like that. Just bear with me. Y'all are used to seeing division like this. So where you have the ice cream cone and the cone itself. So the negative 32 goes inside the house. 5 goes outside, or the ice box, whatever you want to call it. 5 does not go into 3, so I don't put anything there. 5 goes into 32 6 times. Oops, that looks like a 1. 5 goes into 32 6 times, which is 30. When I subtract 32 minus 30, I get a 2. But in order to keep going, I put a decimal at the end and a decimal on top, so I can add a 0. And 5 goes into 24 times, and that's exactly 20. So my answer is 6.4, and a negative divided by negative is a positive, so positive 6.4. Another division, 48.3. 7 goes outside. It's okay if I have a decimal inside the house. I just can't have a decimal outside, so there's nothing to fix here. 7 does not go into 4, but 7 goes into 48 6 times, which is 42. When I subtract 48 minus 42, I get 6. I'm going to bring this decimal up, bring down the 3. 7 goes into 63 9 times, because 7 times 9 is 63. And so I have no more remainder. And negative divided by negative is a positive, so it's positive 6.9. And we just continue. Here, 16.8 goes inside, 4 goes out. 4 does not go into 1, but 4 goes into 16 4 times, exactly 16. And then I bring the decimal up, bring down the 8. 4 goes into 8 twice, and so I have no remainder there. A positive divided by negative, though, is a negative 4.2. Just to continue, 4.7 divided by 2. 2 goes into 4 twice, which is exactly 4. I bring the decimal up and bring the 7 down. 2 goes into 7 3 times, which is 6. But in order to keep going, I've got to add a 0. So 2 goes into 10 5 times. And so my answer is 2.35. Positive divided by positive is a positive, so there's my answer. Now let's talk about one of these other weird ones. So 3 goes inside and 0.6 goes outside. But because of the decimal outside, I have to make it a whole number. So I'm going to move the decimal place to the right once. But what I do outside, I have to do inside. But the odd part is 3 doesn't have a decimal. So if you remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago, barely. But anytime there's not a decimal next to a number, it goes after. And when I want to move it to the right once, I put a 0 there. So it's actually 30. So this turns into 6 and this turns into 30. 6 doesn't go into 3, but it goes into 35 times. Now the decimal place moves, so it's up here, which is after the 5. So my answer is 5. Negative divided by positive is a negative, so negative 5. 5.2 divided by 4. 4 does go into 5 one time. When I subtract that, I get 1. I'm going to bring the decimal place up and bring the 2 down. 4 goes into 12 3 times, exactly. So it's 1.3. A positive divided by positive is a positive, so positive 1.3. 1.75 divided by 2. Nothing to worry about here. It's okay if it has it on the inside but can't on the outside, so I'm good. 2 does not go into 1. Bring the decimal place up, though. 2 goes into 17 8 times, which is 16. And 2 goes into 15 7 times, which is 14. Then I want to continue because I just don't want to have a remainder, so I'll add a 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So this one is 0.875. A positive divided by a positive is a positive. Let's do another one with a decimal. So you notice that 2.5 is a decimal outside. So I want to make it a whole number by moving the decimal place once to the right. But what I do to the outside, I have to do to the inside. So I'm going to move it one place to the right here. Now, 25 does not go into 1. 25 does not go into 15. So in order to keep going, I have to put a decimal and a 0. And then 25 goes into 150. If you think of it like quarters, anytime I see 25s, I think of quarters. And this is $1.50. So how many quarters go into $1.50? That would be 6. And so that's exactly $1.50. But notice my answer would be 0.6. And then positive divided by positive is a positive. So dividing decimals, tricky, something you did cover, but something to refresh our memory on.